Testing, testing, testing audio. Sorry, quick test. Hello, testing, testing audio. Bear with me as I test audio. Waiting to test my audio. Testing, testing, testing audio. Sorry, quick test. Hello, can you hear me? Can the internet hear me? Still testing audio. Bear with me, please. Hello, testing, testing audio. Bear with me as I test audio. Waiting to test my audio. Okay, if you're wondering what that weird echo is, it's because I have my stream open on my nearby iPad. The audio might be very wonky because my Blue Yeti mic, there's something up with it. I'm literally holding the cord because if I don't, it'll disconnect. So my audio might be in and out. Let me hear how it sounds. Hello, testing audio. Bear with me as I test audio. Waiting to test my audio. My audio might be in and out. Let me hear how it sounds. Okay, it sounds good. Now I'm going to test one more thing. I'm going to test how it sounds when I play audio from my computer. So bear with me on this. In and out. Let me hear how it sounds. Okay, it sounds good. Now I'm going to test one more thing. I'm going to test how it sounds when I play audio from my computer. So bear with me on this. In and out. Let me hear how it sounds. Okay, it sounds good. Now I'm going to test one more thing. I'm going to test how it sounds when I play audio from... Oh, wait a minute. I just realized I can't properly test that when that's not one of the input tracks. Okay, so you know what? I'm going to switch to what the stream's going to look like in a bit. And let me test if everything works there. So. Okay, let's see how that sounds. I'm going to switch to what the stream's going to look like in a bit. And let me test if everything works there. So. Okay, that sounded really loud. Oh, sorry, my laugh might have. What the stream's gonna look like in a bit, and let me test if everything works there. So. Okay, that sounded really. Okay, so that taught me two things. One, I really can't speak too loudly with this microphone, and two, the captured audio from my computer is very loud. So, alright, you know what? I'm going to give the intro, and then we're just going to get into it. Hi, so this is my first stream for Softboy Theater, which is my YouTube channel for my comic, The Antics of Softboy Pillowman. That is, of course, my original webcomic. I've been drawing it, on and off for 6 years now. It's amazing. Recently, I made an animatic for a fan song for the Amazing Digital Circus called Happy Place. It's the latter part of the song. And I realized for this animatic that I made it not just for a very small subsection of people, which is... Hang on, let me try and turn down this microphone. Not only did I make it for a small subsection of people, both A, fans of Digital Circus, who B, know and like my webcomic, but I also realized that this animatic is most appropriate for people who are so involved with and knowledgeable of my webcomic that they can see elements I haven't even touched on yet and immediately get them or want to theorize about them. I realized that the number of people who can really do that is next to zero. So I decided I'd make this stream to explain to people sort of my thought process around it and what it means, and sort of what you can look forward to in the comic going forward. So first off, actually, I'm going to show you the segment of the original song that I made the animatic from, to sort of show the inspiration for the animatic, because a lot of my animatic is based on the music video. So I'm going to show you what it was originally, and then I'll show you my version. So the original version is called The Amazing Digital Circus is Happy Place, by the channel ZAMination. That channel's animators are the team behind it. And of course it's based on Digital Circus, which is created by Gooseworx. So let me switch over to YouTube time, and maybe I could turn down like the audio capture. Alright, let's hope this turns out well. So this is, wait, is it even on? Is it even capturing? Yeah, okay, so it should be working. Okay. Oh, I need to make OBS not visible. I accidentally, like, reset a lot of my OBS stuff, and I need to figure out how to make it not visible when I go back and forth. Anyway, here's the original song from when I start making the animatic. So here we go.
Adventures. You love me. And I love you too.
And that was the original. That was what I saw, and I really liked. Oh, sorry that there's a little circly ball. Let me just see what the sound is like on this.
And I love you too.
Okay, it is loud, so a little too late to give a disclaimer here. Hopefully you were able to turn your volume down when we switched to a video. So yeah, that was the original video. I liked this song a lot. I like this song a lot. And I often find that fan-made songs can be a bit of a hit or miss for me. I mean, on the one hand, it's a little obvious why, you know, it's a lot of amateur songwriting, you know. I'm not saying ZAMination, amateur songwriting, but I mean, like, when it comes to fan-made songs for popular pieces of media, in general, it's like fan fiction, you know. You have a lot of people making music, maybe some of them are really skilled, maybe some of them are very practiced, and maybe some of them aren't, or maybe some of them are making songs that are more like other, like, online genres, or, you know, the point is, because of that, I find fan-made songs for popular media online to be a little hit or miss, but this one hit. Happy Place hits. Like, I love the way it sounds, I like the beat, I like the lyrics, I love that they managed to get the original voice actors. Like, if you were thinking, oh, Kane sounds familiar in this song, that is Kane's voice actor. And there are parts in the song where we hear from the others, and that's their voice actors. Like, it's just a really good one. So I always liked it. And then, it's funny, this song came out before, like, the latter episodes of Digital Circus, Digital Circus. This song came out before the final episodes of Digital Circus, which means that, you know, if any character is acting a certain way, this predated any ways this character acted in the show. But I was very interested in, like, what it said about Kane, how it said about his control in the circus, and because of that, I just couldn't help but think, well, I have the Chrisville Theater Society, which is the little theater group that the Soft Boy characters form in my comic. You know, they like to get together and dress up and put on plays. What happened if they put on Happy Place, particularly the end? And I made this animatic, which I will play for you now. Turn down your volume as needed. Oh, actually, you know what? I'll go through it once without pausing it and without talking. And then, when I'm done, I'm going to go through it a second time, with commentary. So here we go. First round is just all the way through. Here we go.
This sucks. Life is feeling like a bunch of humdrum bum banging in my head. I'm trapped inside of the back of my mind. I've gotta leave.
It's impolite to be deceiving. Why break the rules or bother leaving? I know what you need, though you may not agree, but I'll show you the world, and without me you will see how awful it could be. How awful it could be. Rather than this violence and torture and agony, you're better off with me. For having a happy family. We all learned a valuable lesson here today. I know you don't really hate my adventures. You love me. And I love you too.
And that was my Animatic. So that was all the way through. And now we'll go from the top, but this time with my commentary. You know, I don't think this is the best Animatic in the world. I don't even think it's the best thing I've ever made. But I look at that and I think, wow. Uh-oh, my microphone. Uh-oh, my microphone. And now we'll go from this top. I'm just checking the audio. Commentary. You know, I don't think this is the best Animatic in the world. I don't even think it's the best thing I've ever made. But I look at that and I think, wow. Uh-oh, my microphone. Uh-oh, my microphone. Okay, you know what? My audio still turned out fine, so I won't freak out if that happens again. Anyway, yeah, I worked so hard on that. And I'm still so proud of it. Like, it's only a minute and 25 seconds, but I worked for, like, 6 months? It was a while. Actually, no, it might have been 8. It depends on when I started. But yeah, I worked so hard on that in my off time. And I'm proud of it. And, you know, I was hoping it would discourage me from doing animatics in the future, but now I have a plan for another one. I'll get to that later. But yeah, so now we'll go through, and I'll go through slower, and I'll give my commentary. Speaking of which, a fun fact before we start, I was on a vacation with my cousins recently, and I showed them my animatic, because, you know, they like to look at my stuff. And one of my cousins said, wow, this is really cool. And then he said, you know what you have to do? You need to put these in shorts. You need to make a YouTube short of this. That's how things get popular. And, you know, I mean, this is the fact this has almost 100 views, which it did at the time. It's like, wow, the fact this is 100 views, that's impressive for long-form content. It's a minute and 25 seconds. And also, my cousin's like 14. So the fact that he's already saying, you know, you got to get into shorts. Shorts are where it's at. Shorts are how things get popular. And a minute, 25 seconds, this is long-form content. That fills me with a little dread, the shape of YouTube. Anyway, let's get started. And this time, I will be pausing a lot. So already, just something to comment on. You noticed I'm starting earlier than I started when I played the real video, the original video, I should say. You know, in the this, I wanted a bit of time to have a little intro of, you know, this is an Animatic, this is who originally made it, yada, 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 and I thought this was a nice way to do it, and I love timing things, so it's all timed to, like, the beat. I love, like, a lot of parts of the song, not just the ending, and I love these parts where the other voice actors sing, because you get so much personality in each line that's sung. Like, this line that starts it out, you can hear it's Gangle.
This sucks. Life is feeling like a bunch of
And then we get Jax.
banging in my head.
I love the way his voice sounds. Oh, damn it. No, I'm not going to embarrass myself. Yeah, acted out my characters for my webcomic. And I didn't know what to put for the me, so I just drew a full body little human. It's like, yeah, it's me. I don't really have a cartoon representation of myself. For a while on Tumblr, Gooseworx' avatar was like a triangle-headed character, and when I see that and others, I just think like, oh, I should make like a little cartoon version of myself that's like non-human and cool, and I haven't yet, so there's just a little me representation of my hair and my glasses. Drum bum bum banging in my head. It is a singing range. My voice is too low for that. But yeah, I just love hearing those voices. I'm glad I could put that in the intro. A friend of mine asked me, nothing's canon, what does this refer to? Just the fact that it's not canon for my comic. Like, we'll see Softboy as a character, we'll see the other characters as other characters. Oh, my knees, I'm kneeling on the floor right now, I don't have a good setup. We'll see them playing these characters, and if you're wondering, wait, does this have any canonical relation to my characters' interpersonal relationships with each other? Not exactly. This isn't canon. Nothing is literally happening the way it is happening. Could it be indicative of something? Maybe, but not super literally. So if you come out of this thinking, should I be concerned that this happens to this character? No, you don't. And of course, it's referencing the fact that when this song came out, its music video wasn't canon to the show, and I posted this literally like the night before / day of the finale airing for the first day in theaters. I actually raced to get this done by that time because I wanted to go into the finale fully prepared to enjoy the finale and not have to worry about the ramifications of it upon my music video if something big or upsetting happened, because I didn't know. I managed to avoid spoilers. So nothing's canon. It refers to both the Digital Circus, refers to my webcomic. Alright, let's go. Okay, here we get our first major deviation from the original video. As you noticed, it's mostly following the video. We get the door. We even get like a similar angle, by the way. We get everyone bursting through it. We get them like a little reaction. The only difference here is that like it's a raised platform with stairs. That is a bad angle. I'm not an artist. I'm only drawing my comic and this animatic because no one else will. Raised platform on stairs, because I already knew I wanted Softboy to come down the stairs menacingly. I love making his little arms do that. Oh yeah, and technically the first deviation is him looking back like, hey, it's me, yay! But then we get the major deviation of like a noticeable displeasure. Just like, you came in here for a reason. It's sort of, when I watched the original Happy Place, I thought, Kane does get intimidating, but I thought, oh, we could start the intimidation a little earlier. And I made this happen with Softboy. By the way, that moment, the very quick, like, turn, happy, them, look, him, frown, that was a nightmare to time in Blender. Like, I drew all the frames, and fortunately I managed to keep the frames, but then when I tried to time it out, it's so quick, that I almost cut out part of the look. I almost cut a lot of the segment out, and was just to leave it really simple. And I'm so glad I stuck through with it. And went, no, I'm gonna fix this. I'm gonna make it work, because I'm working with the music video's audio, so it includes a little tink right here, tink, from the eyes, because that happens in the video. So I knew I wasn't gonna sacrifice this. I wasn't gonna take the audio from like the non-video track. So I kept it in, and it's like, well, if they look at each other, and I needed to keep Softboy's like menacing look. Can you even hear me? I'm just gonna pretend like this is fine. So yeah, I just worked really hard, and I'm so glad I did. Oh, this is a terrible setup. Okay.
It's impolite to be deceiving.
Another departure from the original video, like. Here, the door doesn't close yet. It's just like, oh, duh, no. And it's when he says, why break the rules or bother leaving? Then the door closes, and they look at it, and then they look back. But here, I was like, I like the idea of them fighting the door. Not just my characters, but the characters in the video. So part of this video is actually me going like, well, I like this video already. What if I do something a little different? So I had them just go in and be like, get the door open. Oh, why is the door not open? He's also, actually, no, that's Moth. Like, Kinger is he. Moth is, Veer. Oh my god, I forgot one of my character's pronouns. What kind of creator am I? Moth has neo pronouns. Moth's fighting the door, and Madam's worried. So I love this range of expression. I'm gonna risk tilting my microphone. There we go. So yeah, another major departure is that, and I thought like because it would look cool. Also, just a little peek behind the curtain about Soft Boy. I have no idea if I could ever make Soft Boy a legitimate cartoon, because not only is his run cycle really hard for me to imagine, but like look at this, like even him snapping his he doesn't have fingers. So I was like, how are you gonna animate that? Best of luck. Let me just check the audio. I want to hear how this sounds. Make Soft Boy a legitimate cartoon. Okay, my audio sounds good, but yeah, a legitimate cartoon. Good luck, my animation team. I like my famous and successful fantasy is I become like Jonan Vasquez, who was not an animator. He was a comic artist. And Nickelodeon just went up to him and was like, "Hey, you want to make a cartoon?" He's like, "My work is very much not child cartoon adjacent, but okay." And he got a cartoon. And that's how I hope it happens with me. Fun fact before I continue this video with Soft Boy and his fingies, his non-existent fingies, I've always thought to myself that one day in a strip, if I can make it work, there'd be a little joke, like a little goodnight everybody type joke where somebody annoys him, like maybe Dirk, and he gets so angry and I want him to lift up like a fist with the back of his fist facing out so you know what he wants to do, but he has like the mitten pad and maybe it like wavers a little bit and I want him to go like, "Why don't I have fingers?" That's not how he sounds, but yeah, I just like, "I don't have fingers," and you know it's because he wants to flip someone off. I want to make that a joke. I want to make that a joke so bad. Okay, let's continue.
Why break the rules or bother leaving? I know.
For that, I was so excited for the stairs. That was one of the things that ran in my mind the most when I was planning this out.
Why break the rules or bother leaving? I know what you need, though you may not agree, but I'll show you the world, and without me you will see how awful it could be.
So that is one of my favorite shots that is also just a shameless ripoff from the original. Oh, by the way, I see there's one other person here. Hi, one other person. Thank you for being here. I'm talking about an animatic I made. Feel free to stick around. But yeah, the eyes looking down and the eyes glowing, like that is like very shamelessly based on the original music video, and I'm glad I recreated it. I also like this version. Procreate, which is the drawing app I use on my iPad, has a special brush that glows very beautifully. And instead of just making a lot of cane hands, I decided, oh, I'll have the glowing hands scoop them up, and I love the way this looks. This is one of my favorite like visuals of my animatic. By the way, fun fact about the mist. If you're wondering why it gets dark and then it fills with a red mist, that is actually something I want to get into further in my webcomic, the red mist. Just a little peek behind the curtain now, the red mist, in my mind, is a shorthand for intense anxiety, fear, and panic. Basically, meant very high mental unrest and non-well-being. And if, like, a character's having a nightmare, or there's a dark fantasy that a person would be desperate to break out of, the red mist will appear. So that over time, when you see the mist, it's a shorthand, and you know this has to stop. Hopefully I actually use it more in my comic. Let's continue. I'll go through these one by one. Oh, the one person left. By one person. So... because I wanted to be a little original. But for the most part, I chose the difference in tortures to be a little more personal for my characters in some way. We're going to start out with the one that this least applies to. Leo as Zooble. Leo as Zooble was also one of those castings in this music video that I did just sort of out of necessity. Actually, I remember I made a poll on my comic that was like, hey, who do you think would play Zooble if the Crisville Theater Society cast themselves in Digital Circus? Who would be Zooble? Would it be Leo Lion, or would it be Jamie McBear? And Leo won, and I cast Leo, and I'm glad I did. But I made that poll because I didn't know, because out of all the other castings, this one was just kind of harder. Leo doesn't have like a direct relation to Zooble. Like, he's not going through any of Zooble's real interpersonal issues. This really was just a casting issue. So this was one of those ones where it's like, okay, I need to make a different Zooble punishment that isn't like blending them in a blender. So I decided to choose caged, and just when he starts rattling the bars, the cages separate into all the different parts. And you can barely see it, but like the eye moves, like there are two eyes, you can see them both moving, the parts like settle, the body rocks, and yeah. Short and sweet. This was also hell to time, by the way, all these like do, because of course I had to make so much happen in each bit. But yeah, so that's why I chose that thing with Leo as Zooble. But then we get to Moth. Moth is Kinger. And of course, obviously, I had to do something that was like Moth is getting pinned like a real moth. Well, I mean, I take liberties because actually you don't pin a moth by the wings like this. Exactly. And Moth doesn't even have wings here, per se. But yeah, I decided, okay, maybe a little Christ-like stigmata getting pinned up by the hands. Specimen Kingera Mothius. And I like this idea that Moth would actually be very calm in this moment. Like, huh, alright, I guess I'm taped here. Guess my hand. Guess it's my other hand. Because if you know Moth, if you know my comic, Moth actually technically doesn't have limbs. The original Moth plush, all the little limbs got either torn off or just worn off. And Moth's limbs in a humanoid form are imaginary. So Moth's like, okay, well, my hands are getting pinned up. Well, there's a pin directly to the head. So that is my Moth-appropriate little torture. And then we move to Dirk as Jax. Now, Dirk as Jax is one of those ones where if you don't know the inside of my head and my future plans for this comic, this might just seem kind of random, because Dirk as Jax punishment is... Now, what's happening is it's a bear trap. Dirk as Jax tries to run away. The bear trap appears, traps his foot, and while he's shaking it off, the monster appears, and this is a dog. And this is, again, something I really wanted to time perfectly. Like, shaking it off, realization, turns just as the dog leaps forward, jaws bared. Now, the reason why this is it, Dirk... There's this sheet. Okay, got rid of that. So, Dirk is a toy. All of them are toys. And even though he's wooden and a lot of the other toys are soft, all the toys have a common fear, and that is dogs. I haven't gotten into this in the comic at all. I haven't even thought of an appropriate time to introduce it, but I've always wanted to. The toys are all afraid of dogs. There's just an inherent fear. And it's because even though most animals have a tendency to get destroyed by household pets, dogs are usually the most common culprit. Especially big dogs. They'll just take something and, if it's fluffy, tear into it, and if it's wooden or hard, chew on it and mangle it. So this is tying into the fear that Dirk is a wooden sword. Dirk has already seen some stuff in his life. He's already endured so much. And he's not even that worried about the bear trap per se. Oh my god, I forgot. I didn't see this. I didn't see that. Anyway. So Dirk, we're getting him confronting, like, you know, you're trapped and now you're about to be attacked by one of the few things you're still vulnerable to, which is the dog. Madam. Okay, so Madam's is a little bit, yeah. To those of you who know my comic and know her, she is, like, originally a boy's toy. She's like this fighting alligator type thing. But, you know, she has this feminine identity, and Chris sees that, and Chris, you know, puts the wig on her and the clothes. She's allowed to be Madame Croc. These are meant to be other of her types of toy in nightmare form. So, and by the way, if you're wondering why is it all shadow, was thinking like this is happening and there's a light coming from behind it all, so you're seeing the projected shadow. You're not seeing it happen directly to her, because I didn't want to draw it because it'd be difficult. I didn't want to draw it because it'd be painful. So I wanted just the suggestion of it. So here she's literally being confronted by. She's not just supposed to be a boy's toy. She's supposed to be a fighting boy's toy. The toys, I haven't gone into this too much. The toys are literally designed to fight each other. Not just the alligator ones, but also like others in the line. So she's getting attacked by the other toys, doing the purpose that she was technically supposed to do, and she's not. And now here we get to Velvel Fox's Gangle. Velvel, a pit opens up, dark hand coming out of pit, and yanks him down. I partly chose this because I think it fit well with the ribbon body, but also it kind of is a reference to the reason why I made Velvel Fox as a character. I'm not going to go too much into it. Basically, the name Velvel Fox comes from a personal history thing. Not my personal history, but something from my grandmother and her father. Basically, the name Velvel Fox came from someone her father knew, who was named that, and then something happened to him in childhood. We don't know the full story, because, like, this is my grandmother's father's friend. This would be so long ago. But basically, and again, there's no conflicting information about it, but it's like something bad happened to this person that her father knew, and he decided to immortalize that person as a name in stories, and that's how the name came around to me. And I was like, oh, Velvel Fox, that's a great character name. I'll make a little character based on that. So the dark hand taking Velvel away, in my mind, in my little subconscious mind, creator mind, it's like a person getting just yanked away into oblivion before they should. Very depressing, I know. Oh, hi, there's at least one other person here. Hello, and you're gone. Goodbye. Anyway, and now we get to BB. And BB doesn't have a personal torture, like Pomni doesn't have a personal torture in the original, but we do see this. Now, this is something that you would definitely not know of if you didn't know my comic. So, here we see Softboy appear behind BB. We see he's already in an unnatural pose here. And then anyone who knows my comic would know that this is Chris. This is the boy who has the toys, who owns the toys, who's technically playing with all of them right now. So a little reminder that, you can't have them without him. So Chris appears. He's holding Softboy. We know that this is connected to whatever he's thinking somehow. Now, originally we had Pomni looking up in the original video, and she sees, like, Kane's nightmarish form. Here we have an extended, like, lower shot of looking up into Chris holding Softboy, and then we have this. This, anyone who knows my comic will see this, and know this is actually Dirk. This is Dirk's sword form. We don't see his eye, but we see the little notches. And like, okay, that's Dirk. Why is there a string? Now this is where, even if you know my comic, you might not know what I'm trying to do, because only I know my twist-head mind. This is a Sword of Damocles reference. You know, that old chestnut, the Sword of Damocles? I'm sort of messing with it a little. Originally, the Sword of Damocles is this old ancient Greek story. It shows my knowledge. I'm stammering to explain it. Basically, there was this prince, or king, this royal, and this example of the danger of power is shown because a sword is tied above his head on a very, very thin string. So thin that it's obvious that the string could break at any moment. And the Sword of Damocles is showing the tentative, like, barely there nature of safety and extremely omnipresent level of danger around someone with power. Like, even if someone has power like this, there's always a Sword of Damocles over their head. It's a line in Rocky Horror, by the way. The Sword of Damocles is hanging over my head, and I've got the feeling someone's going to be cutting the thread. So, why am I using this in a representation of a kid playing with toys? So the Sword of Damocles here is not representing power. It's just me showing Dirk, in some way or another, or whatever he represents, is hanging over Chris's head. He's holding his toy. He's holding his favorite toy here. But there he is. There's Dirk swinging. I could never get the timing right. Fast. In an ideal world, he'd be swinging like a nice, level, sort of back and forth. But yeah, Dirk, whatever he represents, is swinging over Chris like the Sword of Damocles, a danger. And this is where I'll go back and go through all the torture. And I'll even, like, mute it. So, the tortures aren't just me referencing the original video. This whole thing, like, if you listen to the lyrics, Kane says, not bother leaving. I know what you need, though you may not agree, so I'll show you the world, and without me you will see how awful it can be. I mean for Softboy to be saying that here. He's not just parroting it. He's saying, like, we're playing how I want to play. And if you weren't playing how I want to play, this is what would happen to you. Because the whole Chrisville Theater Society is representational of different, like, LGBT identities, different types of personalities. Chris himself is, you know, a soft boy. He's going through his own... He loves art. He loves musical theater. The fact that Dirk is there at all is only because Dirk's an heirloom toy. So, like, we see things like, I'll show you the world how awful it would be if you weren't playing the way I want you to play. If you weren't playing by my rules and you're playing by anyone else's, we'd see that you would be taken apart and put up as a show. Like, your identity will be torn apart and boxed in, or you will be strung up for study at your own risk, labeled like some sort of creature. Even you who thinks you're so strong and apart from this, you yourself will be trapped and hurt and torn apart even if you're so tough and you can't stop it because there will always be something stronger than you. You will go back and face the consequences of not being like the group you're supposed to be like. And you will be torn apart for it. You who are so, kind and weak and meek, you will be dragged away and taken before your time. And you, who might be even closer to Chris than either of you expect, are the one who clearly sees that the biggest pressure over everyone is the person who really controls your whole world. Fun! Anyway, back to the end of the song.
We all learned a valuable lesson here today.
Oh, also, if you're wondering who the hell this is, if you know my webcomic, you might remember that sometimes there's, like, a fictional world in my comic called Tailwind Tales, and there's, like, this little weird bunny lion thing, who's, like, the mascot for it. His name's Figaro. That's his cameo. I made Figaro Bubble. There he is. Like, Figaro's my special boy. You might think Softboy is my special boy, and he is. He very much is. But Figaro is, like, my extra specialist boy. He's my wonderful Blorbo, and I love him so much. He's also my wonderfulest Blorbo. But that guy, the guy being represented by this semi-bubble here, this guy. Oh, I'm holding back how much I love him. Anyway, I wanted him to be in the video, so I was like, oh, well, I have nobody who's Bubble. I'll make Figaro Bubble. That's why he's got these little ears and the glasses. And it's really hard to tell, but, like, these are, like, fangs among the other fangs, so you have, like, the canines.
I know you don't really hate my adventures. You love me.
Oh, and I decided that there'd be a little trail of bubbles going behind him, and the bubbles in this section, because it's like, you love me, I decided he'd make the bubbles hearts. Because he's my wonderful guy.
And I love you too.
And I love you too. One of my friends shared with me a picture of this pose in particular and said, I'd trust him with everything. Like, he does nothing wrong. I'm like, oh, thank you. What about this guy? What do you think of him? And she was like, I don't trust the bubble. And I was like, well, he's not really presenting himself fully in this form, but it doesn't matter if nobody else loves him. I love him. Love a good anime flip. Love a good anime fall over, feet in the air. And I like it. I think it's a lot more natural than the original music videos, just sort of flump. And then we get to the part I was extra excited to include, which was the bows. I thought they were absolutely necessary because I was going to put my characters through such hell. I didn't want people to think I was only putting them through hell. That this was like some universe where they're only destined to live through a hell. So I decided to show, no, this is the Crystal Theater Society putting on a show, and this is what the show is. This is the end of the show, and now I'm going to take advantage of the fact they made a little lyric-less musical outro to make them bow. And also to show they're wearing costumes. So, like, not only is everything fine, nothing's canon, everything's fine, they're fine, everyone's fine, but also they're wearing costumes. So, you can see, even just from this shot alone, it's like Velvel's wearing a dark jumpsuit and wearing, like, the ribbon around him, and then wearing a mask over his real face. And then with Leo Azubel, you realize there's no neck, like there is previously, so it's like before you use your imagination, you fill in the blanks. Here, you see there's no neck, which means, like, you know, because the head is just like a head that goes onto a body. And you can see here that the limbs are a lot thicker because, you know, Leo has actual legs. They take the mask off, he takes the head off. Yay, it's a costume. And this one I like even from the start, you can tell that Moth is wearing a face mask. So it's like the reason why Moth as Kingers and doesn't have a mouth, it's because a face mask. And Madam has a button over the eye as Ragatha. Yay. And Durgas Jax has bunny ears, and very different, so I decided to show she's like that she's wearing contacts. BB uses he, she, or they pronouns as necessary, so like whatever one I happen to use is like, okay, I guess we're doing that. So yeah, BB has contacts. And then if you're wondering why this takes so long, like we settle for an absurd amount of time on this frame. Literally, like I said, I was racing to finish this, and I couldn't be bothered to draw more frames. I was like, no, we're just going to take time here. I cannot draw more. I need to go into the theatrical experience blind. And then we have Softboy, who's just totally out of his cane outfit. I love no costume change for him. Oh, I'm so proud of myself. And yeah, this was posted about 3 weeks ago, and it's got 105 views. And I know that's not a lot in the grand scheme of things, not really, but I'm still so proud of myself. And like, hey, 105 people, it looks like, have seen it. Maybe take off 5 of those views, because I would watch it on other devices and like other people's homes to sort of, you know, rewatch it. But aside from that, yeah, about 100 people, different times. It's amazing. 3 likes. Look at that, 3 likes. 5 comments. And yeah, 2 of those comments are me. But, damn, better than nothing. My mic is bad. So, yeah, thanks for... Before I finish this, I'll share maybe another fact or two. Will I ever make an animatic again? I do. I want to. There's some that I want to make that'll be easier than others. But there are a couple animatics I want to make I could only make if I recorded the singing myself. Which basically means you'd have to bear with me, as I do not sound like my own characters. I used to have a Softboy voice, actually. Before my voice dropped, I had a voice for Softboy, and I would repeat it like a stim. Like, I'm Softboy Pillowman. That's not how he sounds. I used to sound more like... When I would do that voice, it would sound closer to him. But when I do it now, it just sounds totally not like him. So I have no idea how I would sing in that voice. But, there's another... Just when you think that's enough Digital Circus for you, nope, there's another Digital Circus song from ZAMination, actually, called Wacky World. The next animatic I want to do, maybe not that one right next, but an animatic I want to do in the future is Wacky World Rewritten. So it's about one particular member of the Crystal Theater Society reacting to being in this world. And I have to rewrite almost the whole thing. And I actually have. There's in a Word document, but I'd have to draw it. I have to record it. I cannot... Dirk I could probably do a good crack at, because he's just kind of gruff and uncaring. But Softboy is... I can do, like, the intonation, you know? Actually, you know what? Let's... There you go. There's my blog. My recent... Like, where are you? And he's like... I'm playing Deltarune. That's why there's no working on comic this week. Updates. There's my Animatic. Man, have I done anything recently where he actually talks? Oh yeah, I went to Digital Circus pop-up and I put that on the wall and no one touched it. That was nice. I'm so jet-lagged. Well, I guess it's not the best line to demonstrate Softboy, but anyway, this is my comic. If you're interested, it's still on Tumblr. I'm trying to make a website, but it's not working. Yeah, okay, I guess I started because I wanted to read something in his voice, but as you can see, I haven't done a full comic in a while. But yeah, I could make an animatic where I sing as Softboy. Oh, there's one other person here. Hi, one other person. The stream's going to be over in only a few minutes, so just stick around only a few minutes more, if you're interested. So yeah, Softboy, you know, he's a cute little guy. He kind of has these weird Softboyisms. I did a comic once where we hear some of his Softboyisms, and one of them is that when he says Hamilton, he says Hambleton. Maybe we could put out a production of Hambleton. God, I can't sound like him. But if I ever did an animatic, he'd be singing it and Dirk would be singing it. That'd be very interesting to try. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you're watching it after the fact, or if you're the one other person in the chat right now who's not saying anything, you don't have to. Don't worry, I'm not pressuring you. If you just came in, thank you for taking an interest. This is me talking about my Happy Place animatic, which is of course an animatic of this video, which is also really good. Maybe I'll do more in the future if you guys are interested in more streams in the future, like me talking about my comic. Feel free to let me know. I'd be happy to share more. In the meantime, I also have another YouTube page, actually, not software related, called Some Nerd Does Stuff, where I streamed Deltarune. I streamed Undertale and I streamed Deltarune chapters 1 through 4, and I am gonna stream Deltarune chapter 5. I'm going to do that in July. I'm just going to see if I can figure out this microphone. If you want the next stream to be me talking about, like, the planned Wacky World animatic and what that would look and sound like, that'd be cool. But yeah, just let me know. Thank you so much for watching, whoever dropped in. Leave a comment if you want more info, and yeah. Thanks so much. And stay tuned for at least more webcomic, if anything else. Have a good evening.